our chilling challenge. Yesterday, the princess gave you a pretty awesome look at the Court of Miracles scene from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And continuing with that theme, today we're looking at more scary moments, but this time for live action. And I wanted to make things a little more interesting today. Instead of just looking at generally scary things, let's take a walk down memory lane with me and see what moments in live action movies scared me as a kid. Number 1, James and the Giant Peach. I mean, it's a Roald Dahl book adapted by Tim Burton. So of course it's 2 different levels of terrifying and creepy. After the ants tell everyone that the peach is theirs and that they're taking it back with them, they try to convince everybody that James is mentally unstable. At which point James reveals that he's never going back with them because he's miserable with them. Because they starve and beat him. And how do they react? They grab fire axes and then attack him! What? Number 2. The Muppet Movie. So Kermit and Miss Piggy are on a date and she gets up to take a phone call. When she doesn't come back, Kermit assumes he's been stood up. He and Ralph sing a song about love and generalizing women, and then he gets a phone call informing him that Miss Piggy has actually been kidnapped by the antagonist. When he comes to try and rescue her, he gets captured as well, and they both get strapped up to this machine that's essentially going to make Kermit do something he doesn't want to do by frying his brain. I'm not really sure what it is that scared me so much, and still does. Honestly. Maybe it's because in this ridiculous and farcical comedy, this is a scene that doesn't feel funny at all. It just feels real. Maybe it's Frank Oz's voice acting. Maybe it's the idea of watching a character I love be tortured. Maybe it's the implications of being forced to do something that you do not want to do. Maybe it's because kidnapping is really scary to me. I don't know, but I still don't like this scene at all. Number 3, Pete's Dragon. The 70s was a dark time for Disney. Seriously, it was the Disney Dark Ages. Walt died in 1966, and the Dark Ages starts relatively with the Aristocats in 1970 and ends with The Little Mermaid in 1989. Cat, get off the chair! He didn't get to see the moon landing! It makes me so sad! During this time, the studio's animated films weren't doing very well, so they basically moved all of the animators off of the lot into these abandoned buildings because they wanted to focus more on live action films. That's the super simplified version. Pete's Dragon is a mostly live action film with a sprinkling of animation in the form of Pete's Dragon, Elliot, who was animated by none other than Don Bluth. You know, the guy responsible for these films. Pete's Dragon came out in 1977 and is about a young orphan named Pete, who we learn in the first scene has run away from his adoptive family because, well, they basically see him as a possession. You know, like a slave. And while he's in the forest hiding from them, they all come out and sing the song to him that's really, really creepy. Hello, hillbillies!
The happiest home in these hills. Gonna snag him, gag him, drag him through town. Put his head in the river, let the pup drown. Trap him, strap him, wrap him in a sack, yeah!
I'm not even gonna mention the song that Jim Dale sings about dismembering Elliot.
Every little piece, every little crease, all lead me to the dragon. I'll buy him up, tie him up.
Number 4, Pollyanna. It's a movie that came out in 1960 about a very cheerful and optimistic preteen girl named Pollyanna, who goes to live with her super rich and mean Aunt Polly. She's just mean in a spinster conservative way though, so Pollyanna lucks out in the family department. The scary moment here comes at the climax of the film, when Pollyanna sneaks out of the house to go to a carnival that her Aunt Polly has forbidden her from attending. Later, she sneaks back into her house by climbing this tree outside of her bedroom window, and she falls. And she hurts herself pretty badly. It's the anticipation that really got me when I was a kid. It was always the same ending, even when I hoped for a different one. Even when I went back and watched this scene for the video, the fall itself wasn't as dark or dramatic as I remembered it being as a kid. But it was still just as tense. However, as far as I can remember, it didn't really have an impact on my love of climbing trees. Though it did actually permanently disfigure my rib by falling out of a tree, so maybe that scene didn't scare me enough. Number 5 and 6, Bedknobs and Broomsticks. So, Bedknobs and Broomsticks is one of my favorite Disney movies ever, period. Pro tip, the Blu-ray copy only has the theatrical release. I would highly recommend watching the extended edition, it makes a lot more sense. There are 2 scary scenes in this movie, actually. The first being when they're forced to meet this bookkeeper guy. And when it's clear that they're not going to cooperate with him, he pulls out this huge knife that he's probably been keeping since he last used it in 1888. The initial scare from seeing the knife and imagining what he'll do with it is really where the scare comes from. And it's over pretty quickly because he doesn't do anything with it, but there's still that initial moment. And the second one? The this one's a little different from the others. There's an iconic scene where Angela Lansbury's character enacts a spell to animate all of the suits of armor in the museum to go fight Nazis. It takes place in World War II. The special effects for this whole sequence are so impressive, especially when I was a kid. I didn't really have to pretend to believe that the suits were moving on their own. I could believe it. And while it was scary, especially when they start chanting the spell, I was in awe. I had chills. I still get chills from that scene. It's an awesome idea, and the execution of that idea is creepy and so well done. The whole movie is worth that scene alone, and it's a good movie. Number 7, Flubber. Remember earlier when I talked about tension in Pollyanna? Well, here's another instance of that. Flubber is a fun and lighthearted movie with a lot of physical humor reminiscent of the Three Stooges and the Home Alone movies. But the scene where the guys take a baseball bat to Weebo is so hard to watch. And the scene did scare me a lot as a kid, but not because I was worried about it happening to me. It was because I loved the character Weebo. She has a lot of really great character development and ultimately a good and strong heart, hardware, sentience, I don't know. And to essentially watch her die is sad and scary because it's not what you expect from a movie like Flubber. Number 8, Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. Curse of the Black Pearl was one of the first PG-13 movies I ever saw. And when Elizabeth stabs Barbossa with a knife, I was already really confused because why wasn't he dead? And when she escapes and runs out of the cabin, I think I'm being honest when I say that I was as shocked and surprised as she was to see the decaying pirates. And I was scared. I'd never seen anything like it before. I didn't even fathom what was coming. And it was probably one of the first times I remember being scared by a movie and liking that it scared me. And probably one of the last. I don't enjoy that feeling very much.
You best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
And there you have it. Subscribe to follow our chilling challenge. Like this video if any of these scenes also scared you as a kid. I know Judge Doom's reveal is a really scary moment for a lot of people, but I didn't see that movie until I was a teenager. So that's why it's not on the list. I can see where it would have scared me though.
When I killed your brother, I talk.
But I'm interested to know what you guys think. You know, looking back on them as a sort of adult, I can appreciate these scenes and their value for the narrative or the creativity of the imagery. And I think it kind of just shows how I've matured so much and no, Muppet movies, stop that! Why? What are you even doing?